Eli wiped the sweat from his forehead as he scanned the endless sand stretching out before him. The desert planet, Zarath's 7, was not forgiving. Its twin suns beat down with relentless intensity, and the air shimmered with heat. The outpost behind him looked small, almost laughably so, against the vast golden dunes, but it was humanity's foothold in this remote corner of the galaxy. Scientists, explorers, and engineers had been sent here to study the unique ecosystem, particularly its strange, sentient life forms that glowed faintly at night. He tightened the straps on his pack and adjusted the visor on his helmet. His mission today was simple in theory: locate the humanoid alien they had tracked via heat sensors, observe it, and collect data from a safe distance. He had studied the reports carefully. The creature emitted a powerful bioenergy field capable of producing intense heat. It was intelligent, cautious, and, according to the files, dangerous if provoked. The briefing had emphasized this several times. "Do not touch," the lead scientist had said, "under any circumstances." Eli swallowed nervously. "Not touch, got it," he muttered to himself. He moved forward, stepping lightly on the coarse sand. The sensors on his suit were pinging faintly, signaling the presence of the alien nearby. Then he saw her. She stood in the distance, partially hidden behind a jagged rock formation, her figure lit by the harsh sunlight. At first she looked like a mirage, a tall, graceful humanoid with shimmering golden skin that seemed to ripple like liquid metal. She noticed him immediately. Her eyes, a deep, molten amber, widened with alarm. She raised a hand in warning. Eli froze. "Don't touch me," she said, her voice a melodic hum that resonated strangely in the dry air. Eli nodded rapidly, raising both hands in a gesture of peace. I won't," he called back, though he had no idea if she understood the words. She didn't move, but the tension in her posture was clear. Then the wind shifted, bringing a sudden storm of fine, red sand whipping across the dunes. Eli's visor fogged slightly as he struggled to maintain his balance. He couldn't just leave her in this storm. "Wait," he shouted. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help." The alien hesitated, her body glowing faintly, a warning visible even through the dust. Eli stepped forward carefully, scanning her for injuries. A large gash ran across her arm, the skin around it glowing unnaturally. It looked painful, but also alarming in another way. The heat signature from her body had spiked dramatically. He made a decision. He removed his gloves and extended a hand. "Please, let me help you." The moment his fingers brushed her arm, everything changed. A wave of searing heat erupted from her skin. Eli's suit alarmed loudly as the temperature sensors hit critical levels. He stumbled backward, shielding his face, but the alien didn't scream. Instead, her body glowed brighter, golden light flaring like a miniature sun. Sand around her steamed, the storm slowing as if the air itself was recoiling from her energy. Her eyes met his, wide and terrified. "No." "I warned you," she shouted, her voice trembling, the melody now sharp with panic. Eli's mind raced. I'm sorry, I didn't know," he stammered, ducking behind a rock to avoid the radiating heat. His suit was holding, but only barely, and his heart pounded as he watched her struggle. She was burning, not in flames, but from her own energy. Her skin seemed to ripple, heat waves distorting the air around her. The moment felt like hours, though it could only have been seconds. He wanted to reach out again, to help her control it, but another surge of heat made him hesitate. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but he couldn't leave her like this. Then, as quickly as it had flared, the heat began to subside. She collapsed to one knee, panting, glowing dimmer now, though the faint golden shimmer still radiated from her skin. Her eyes didn't meet his anymore. They were fixed on the sand in front of her. Eli moved closer cautiously, making sure not to touch her. You'll burn yourself," he said softly, speaking slowly so she could understand. "You need help. Let me help you control it." She shook her head, backing away, keeping her hands between them. Her body still radiated warmth enough to make him step back. "No human can control this, it's dangerous. Stay away." Eli swallowed, trying to steady his voice. "I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to help." She hesitated, a flicker of doubt crossing her features. For a moment, it seemed like she might run again. Then, in a sudden movement, she darted toward a narrow canyon leading deeper into the desert. Eli knew he had to follow, but carefully. He couldn't touch her again. He pursued her for hours, navigating treacherous rock formations and shifting dunes. The desert seemed alive, the heat waves playing tricks on his vision, but he kept going. Every so often, he would see a glimpse of her glowing form, moving gracefully, avoiding dangerous terrain with the skill of someone who had spent a lifetime in this harsh environment. Finally, as the suns began to set, painting the sky in shades of red and purple, Eli caught up to her at a hidden oasis. The water reflected her glow, creating the illusion of twin flames dancing across the surface. She stood there trembling, her golden skin dim but still warm to the touch. "You can't stay here," Eli said, careful to keep his distance. "There are predators, humans, and storms. You'll get hurt if you hide alone." She stared at him, eyes wary but curious. Her voice was softer now. "I don't need humans. I've survived longer than your species has walked among the stars." Eli smiled faintly, a mix of admiration and nervousness. "I'm not just a human. I want to understand you. I want to help. If you let me, I can keep you safe." For a long moment there was silence. Then she turned, walking slowly into the shade of a giant rock. She didn't speak, but she didn't run away either. Eli followed cautiously, setting up his scanner and protective equipment at a safe distance. He observed her, noting her breathing, the way her skin pulsed faintly, and how she seemed to respond to the cooling evening air. Hours passed. Eli recorded every movement, every change in her glow, careful not to make any sudden gestures. He was exhausted, sunburned beneath his suit, and his mind raced with questions. How did she produce such intense energy? How could it be controlled? And most importantly, could he earn her trust? As night fell, the desert transformed. The glowing alien, the stars above, and the calm oasis made the world feel almost magical. She eventually sat by the water, dipping her fingers in and watching the ripples. Eli stayed hidden behind a nearby rock, taking notes silently, but he couldn't help stealing glances. She was extraordinary not just in appearance but in presence, an entirely new form of life, radiant and alive. Finally, she spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why do you stay? Humans always take. They never leave things as they are." Eli's heart ached at her words. He wanted to say so many things, but he chose carefully. "I'm not like that. I want to learn, not take. I want to help, not hurt." She looked at him, her eyes reflecting the twin moons now rising above the desert. For the first time, she didn't immediately move away. She was still wary, still burning hot from fear, but there was a flicker of something else, a spark of trust, tiny but real. Eli exhaled slowly, feeling a small victory. Tomorrow he would try again. Tomorrow he would find a way to help her control her heat without fear. And maybe, just maybe, he could prove that not all humans were dangerous. For now he watched her from a distance, letting her rest, letting the night wrap the desert in calm. The heat had subsided, but the tension lingered, and Eli knew this was only the beginning. The desert, the storm, and the alien before him were all part of a challenge far greater than science alone. It was a test of patience, understanding, and courage. He sat quietly, staring at the glow in the water, wondering what tomorrow would bring. The next morning, Eli woke to the sound of soft wind brushing against the rocks. The desert was cooler than the day before, but the heat of the planet was still pressing. He had slept lightly, wrapped in his protective gear, keeping an eye on the glowing form of Lyra at the edge of the oasis. She had moved very little during the night, but she had not fled. That alone was a sign, small as it might seem, that she was beginning to trust him, even if just a little. Eli carefully unpacked a small device designed to monitor her bioenergy without touching her. He activated it and watched as the readouts displayed fluctuating heat patterns across her skin. He remembered how her body had flared yesterday, uncontrollably burning after he had touched her. Today, he needed to be extremely cautious. One wrong move could set off her energy again. Lyra moved first. She rose, stretching lightly, the golden glow pulsing across her body. Her movements were cautious, almost deliberate, as though she were testing herself and the air around her. Her eyes met his from a distance, and Eli noticed the faintest flicker of curiosity. She tilted her head, studying him as much as he was studying her. "I won't touch you," Eli said softly, lowering himself to sit on a nearby rock. "I just want to help you understand what happened yesterday. That's all." Lyra hesitated. Then slowly she stepped closer to the water, her fingers skimming the surface. The energy that had made her glow so brightly the day before was still there, but now it seemed calmer, flowing naturally through her. Eli took careful notes, watching how the patterns changed as she moved. Hours passed. Eli remained silent, letting her feel safe in his presence. He could see that the heat emitted from her body was linked to her emotions. Fear, anger, and pain triggered intense flares, while calm and focus allowed the glow to settle. This discovery was crucial. It meant that with patience, she could potentially learn to control the heat. Lyra sat down near the water again, dipping her hands in, and for the first time she spoke without warning or alarm. "Why do you care so much?" Her voice was soft but not unfriendly. Eli smiled gently. "Because not all humans are the same. Some of us want to understand to help, not to harm. I believe you can trust me if you let yourself." She studied him for a long moment. Her eyes were filled with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Then she moved slightly closer, still keeping a safe distance. "Your kind has hurt my people before. How do I know you won't?" "I can't promise what others have done," Eli admitted. "But I can promise what I will do. I will not hurt you. I want to help you survive, and I want to understand you if you allow it." The pause that followed was tense but quiet. The desert seemed to hold its breath along with them. Then, tentatively, Lyra extended her hand toward the water. Eli stayed back, careful not to step too close. She touched the surface, sending ripples outward, the golden glow of her skin reflecting in the water. Slowly she began to manipulate her heat, drawing energy from her surroundings to calm herself. Eli's eyes widened. "You're learning already," he whispered. "You're controlling it." Lyra looked at him, her amber eyes still wary. "It is not easy. I have always relied on instinct. Control is unfamiliar." For the rest of the day, Eli observed her, documenting every movement, every change in her energy. He spoke little, offering only words of encouragement. "You are doing well," he said when she managed a small flare without it overwhelming her. "I knew you could do it." As night fell, the air cooled rapidly. The twin moons rose, casting a silver glow over the oasis. Lyra sat by the water, her body gently glowing, the light pulsating softly like a heartbeat. Eli sat nearby, careful to remain at a respectful distance. Suddenly, a noise in the distance caught both their attention. A low hum, mechanical and deliberate, echoed across the dunes. Eli's heart raced. He knew that sound. It was not natural, it was human. "They are coming," Eli said quietly, standing to look toward the dunes. "We have to move." Lyra tensed immediately, her glow flaring in alarm. "Humans, they will take me." Eli shook his head. "Not if I can help it. Stay calm. Follow me, but do not run. Running will trigger the heat again." She followed cautiously, matching his pace as he led her through a series of rocky paths, careful to avoid open areas. The hum grew louder, and soon, the headlights of approaching vehicles appeared on the horizon. A small military expedition had found their location. Eli knew they were after her, intending to capture and weaponize her abilities. "Hide," Eli whispered. He led Lyra into a narrow cave that opened to a hidden side canyon. It was small, but it provided some cover. Lyra crouched inside, her golden glow dimming slightly as she tried to calm herself. Eli activated a small device that masked her heat signature temporarily. The humans outside scanned the area with infrared devices, but the device held. They drove past, not noticing the hidden alcove where Eli and Lyra waited. Her breathing was heavy, her body tense. Eli could feel the faint warmth radiating from her even through his suit. "You saved me," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "I didn't do it alone," Eli said. "You controlled yourself. That was your choice, your strength." She looked at him, and for the first time there was no fear in her eyes, only cautious respect. "Why do you stay? Why not leave like the others?" "Because someone has to protect you," Eli said simply. "And because I believe you're more than just a weapon. You deserve the chance to live freely." Lyra's glow pulsed softly in response, as if acknowledging his words. The bond between them was growing, fragile but real. For the first time, Eli felt that he was not just observing an alien life form. He was forming a genuine connection with another being, one built on trust, patience, and understanding. The next few days passed in a rhythm. Eli taught her techniques to control her heat without touching, using water, wind, and meditation. They communicated more, learning to understand each other's gestures and expressions. Lyra began to respond to his encouragement, her energy flaring brightly only when she allowed it, rather than in panic. They faced challenges too. Predatory creatures of the desert occasionally attacked, testing their ability to survive together. Eli and Lyra fought side by side, her controlled heat giving them an advantage but never harming her in the process. Through each encounter, their trust in one another deepened. Eli discovered more about her species' unique physiology. The heat she generated was not just energy, it was a form of communication and defense. When calm, it could heal minor injuries. When frightened, it became a shield, powerful enough to deter predators or humans. Understanding this, Eli devised ways to help her channel the energy safely, always careful not to touch her directly. One evening, as the twin moons rose once again, Lyra sat by the oasis, her reflection shimmering in the water. Eli joined her at a respectful distance. "You've come a long way," he said softly. She glanced at him, her golden glow dim but steady. "I never thought I could control it. I thought I would always be a danger to myself and others." "You're learning," Eli said, "and you're not alone anymore. I'll help you every step of the way." For the first time, she allowed a small smile, a gentle warmth radiating not just from her body, but from within. It was subtle, but it spoke volumes. She was beginning to trust him, to believe in the possibility of safety and friendship with a human. But even in this moment of calm, Eli knew the danger had not passed. The military faction outside the desert would not give up easily. They would keep searching, driven by greed and ambition, blind to the life they threatened. Eli's mind raced with strategies, plans, and contingencies, all while maintaining the delicate trust he had built with Lyra. He looked at her glowing form in the moonlight and made a silent promise. No matter the danger, he would protect her, not because of orders, not because of science, but because it was the right thing to do. Humanity's courage, empathy, and ingenuity were not just tools for survival. They were the essence of what he wanted to show her, and the qualities he hoped would define their partnership. As the night deepened, the desert quieted around them. The stars shone brightly, reflected in the still water of the oasis. Eli felt a sense of determination, a connection not only to Lyra, but to something greater, the idea that humanity could be a force for understanding and compassion, even in the most alien and dangerous places. Tomorrow they would face new challenges, but tonight they rested, together. The bond between human and alien was fragile but real, built on patience, respect, and the courage to trust. And in that trust, Eli found hope, not just for Lyra, but for humanity's role in the galaxy. The following day, Eli woke to an uneasy silence. The desert seemed quieter than usual, and the winds that had once whispered across the dunes were still. He scanned the horizon, noting the faint glow of Lyra as she moved near the oasis. Her body pulsed softly, controlled now, but he could still sense the simmering energy beneath the surface. It was calm, but any sudden disturbance could trigger another flare. Eli knew the danger was growing. The military faction that had searched for them days ago was relentless. They would not abandon the hunt. He had seen the tracks, the signs left in the sand, vehicles that had passed too close for comfort. They were searching for her not for science but for profit and power. The thought made his stomach twist. They could not be allowed to capture Lyra. He knelt down to speak softly to her. "We need to move today. They may already be tracking us." Lyra's amber eyes glowed faintly, a mixture of fear and resolve. "I know, I am ready." Together, they set off through the rocky terrain, Eli leading the way while keeping a careful eye on the sky and the desert below. The path was treacherous, jagged rocks cutting into their boots, and shifting sand threatening to pull them down steep slopes. But Lyra moved gracefully, her controlled heat allowing her to detect hidden obstacles and avoid them. She had begun to understand the ways of this desert in ways Eli could not. Hours passed in tense silence. The desert stretched endlessly, the suns beating down on them as they climbed and descended dunes. Then, in the distance, Eli noticed a faint shimmer. At first he thought it was a mirage, but the pattern was too deliberate. Moving closer, he saw them, 3 vehicles approaching from the north, kicking up clouds of sand. The military faction had found them again. Eli whispered urgently, "Hide." Now, he led Lyra to a narrow canyon, barely wide enough for them to crouch side by side. The walls were high, offering protection from sight and sensors, but they had to remain absolutely still. The vehicles roared past, scanning the desert for signs of movement. The mechanical hum of their sensors grew louder, but Eli's device masking Lyra's heat worked. For a tense few minutes, they were invisible. Eli held his breath, listening as the machines passed. Then the desert returned to silence. Lyra exhaled softly. "They are relentless." "Why do they care so much?" "Because they see your abilities as a weapon," Eli said. "They don't understand that you are more than that. They don't see your life. They only see power." Her eyes glowed faintly, her fingers brushing the canyon wall. "I do not want to be a weapon. I do not want to harm anyone." "You won't," Eli said firmly. "I'll make sure of it." They continued moving cautiously, climbing higher into the canyon system to gain a better vantage point. Eli noticed the first signs of desert predators, a pack of 4-legged creatures, their bodies built for speed and camouflage, hunting silently across the dunes. Lyra's energy flared slightly, instinctively ready to defend herself. Eli reminded her softly, "Control it. You can calm them." Her eyes closed and her body pulsed gently. The predators halted, sensing her energy, and slowly retreated. Eli watched, amazed. Lyra's control had grown remarkably in just a few days. Her ability to use her heat not as a weapon, but as a deterrent, showed intelligence, patience, and instinct working together. It was a reminder of why humanity had always been capable of greatness: curiosity, empathy, and courage combined with quick thinking. Suddenly, the sound of engines roared from below. The military vehicles had regrouped and were attempting to flank them. Eli knew they had to act quickly. "We have no choice," he whispered. "We must fight to survive, but carefully." Lyra nodded, her golden skin glowing softly, not in panic, but in readiness. Eli set up small, improvised barriers and channels in the canyon to guide the energy safely if Lyra's heat flared. They had no advanced weapons. All they had was strategy and her unique ability. The first vehicle appeared, its sensors sweeping the canyon. Lyra inhaled, focusing, and a controlled burst of heat radiated outward. The sand near the vehicle steamed, sensors glitching, giving them a chance to move higher. Eli guided her, whispering directions and encouraging her calm. Her glow intensified, but she kept it under control, using it to manipulate the environment rather than harm the humans. The second vehicle approached, and Eli realized they couldn't outrun all three. They needed a plan. He gestured to Lyra. Use the canyon walls. Make them think we are somewhere else. Lyra concentrated, and her heat flared again, carefully directed to create shimmering illusions across the rocks. The military sensors were deceived, seeing shapes and heat signatures that weren't real. The vehicle slowed, scanning the wrong areas, buying them precious time. Eli marveled at her control. "You're amazing," he whispered. "Not just because of your power, but because you can think, plan, and adapt." Lyra's eyes flickered. "I've never had to do this with someone helping me." As the final vehicle approached, the canyon narrowed sharply. Eli and Lyra pressed against the walls, their bodies tense. The vehicle came close, its sensors searching for life. Lyra's heat flared, not in panic, but in a controlled wave, enough to force the vehicle back without causing damage. The driver struggled to maintain control, the sensors overheating, and the vehicle slowly retreated. Eli exhaled, relief flooding through him. "It's over for now." Lyra's body dimmed, the heat settling. "It is dangerous to be near humans," she said quietly. "Even one mistake could destroy everything." "Not all humans are like that," Eli said softly. "Some of us fight to protect, not to harm. I am one of them." For a long moment there was silence. The desert seemed to breathe around them, the twin suns now low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the canyon. Eli realized that their bond had deepened in the crucible of danger. Trust had been forged through fear and necessity, creating a connection that went beyond words. As they moved further into the canyon to set up a temporary shelter, Eli noticed Lyra's glow pulsing faintly with a rhythm that seemed almost like breathing. He watched her, fascinated. "You're learning control faster than I imagined," he said. "Your strength isn't just in your energy, it's in your mind, your courage." She looked at him, a faint smile touching her lips. "I have someone to guide me. That makes a difference." Night fell quickly in the desert, and they settled near a small pool of water. Eli made sure she stayed hydrated, and they both rested, alert but calm. The danger from the humans had passed for now, but Eli knew it was only temporary. They would return, and next time they might come prepared to fight. Lyra looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting the starlight. "You risk so much for me. Why?" "Because it's the right thing to do," Eli replied. "Because I believe in protecting life, not taking it. Because I believe in you." Her body pulsed faintly, a quiet warmth spreading into the air. Eli could feel it even without touching her, a reminder of the potential within her and the fragile trust between them. "Tomorrow," Eli whispered, "we need to keep moving to find safer ground. There are places even the humans cannot reach easily. I'll help you get there." Lyra nodded, her glow dimming as she settled down. "I will follow your guidance," she said softly. "But remember, one wrong step and the energy may flare again." "I'll be careful," Eli said, sitting beside her at a safe distance. He looked up at the stars, thinking about the challenges ahead. The desert was vast, the humans persistent, and the predators unpredictable. But together, they had survived the day. Together, they had outsmarted those who sought to exploit her. And together, they would face whatever came next. As the night deepened, Eli watched her sleeping form, glowing faintly, and realized something profound. Humanity's strength was not only in technology or weapons, but in courage, empathy, and quick thinking, the very traits that allowed him to protect Lyra when raw power alone could not. He vowed silently that he would not fail her. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Whatever danger awaited, they would face it together. Humanity had earned the chance to shine in the galaxy, not through conquest, but through understanding, compassion, and bravery. And in this moment, Eli felt that promise more strongly than ever. The desert around them was silent, but the warmth of Lyra's controlled energy filled the night, a beacon of hope in the harsh world of Zarath's 7. And for the first time, Eli allowed himself to feel something rare in the loneliness of space, that hope, fragile and bright, could endure. The sun rose over Zarath's 7, painting the desert in soft golds and purples. Eli stirred, careful not to wake Lyra. She was seated near the oasis, her golden skin faintly glowing in the morning light. Last night's escape from the military faction had left both of them exhausted, but it had also strengthened their bond. She had learned to control her heat, and he had learned to trust her instincts, moving as one in the harsh desert environment. Eli approached slowly, keeping a respectful distance. "Good morning," he said softly. "Did you sleep well?" Lyra's amber eyes opened, meeting his gaze. "I slept better than I thought I could," she admitted. "I feel safer." "You are safe," Eli replied, smiling. "And today we continue moving. There are places in the desert where no human can reach easily. We'll get you to one of those safe areas." She nodded, standing gracefully, the glow of her skin shifting gently as she moved. "I trust you," she said quietly. The words were simple, but the weight behind them was immense. Trust had not come easily to her species, and the fact that she was willing to follow him showed just how far they had come together. They began the journey again, moving carefully through the canyon and over the dunes. Eli kept scanning the horizon, always alert for threats, while Lyra used her energy to sense hidden dangers. Her control had improved dramatically. She no longer flared in panic, but directed her heat precisely when needed, creating protective barriers or signaling Eli silently. As the day progressed, Eli noticed her pausing occasionally to study the terrain, her amber eyes reflecting intelligence and curiosity. "You understand this desert very well," he remarked. Lyra smiled faintly. "I have lived here all my life. I know its dangers. But with you, I feel like we can face them together." By midday, they reached a rocky plateau overlooking a valley filled with unusual flora and hidden water sources. The area was naturally protected, difficult for vehicles to access, and perfect for Lyra to remain safe. Eli could see her eyes widen at the view. "This place, it is perfect," she murmured almost to herself. "No humans can reach here easily and the predators will avoid it. It feels like a sanctuary." Eli nodded. "Then this is where we stay, at least for now. You can rest, learn to control your abilities fully, and live freely without fear." They spent the afternoon establishing a temporary shelter among the rocks, using natural formations to provide shade and cover. Eli worked carefully to arrange supplies without disturbing the environment, respecting the delicate balance of the alien ecosystem. Lyra assisted him, using her controlled heat to shape rocks and move heavy stones with precision. Their teamwork was seamless, the bond between human and alien growing stronger with every shared task. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the valley in oranges and pinks, Eli and Lyra sat near a small pool of water. Eli spoke first. "I've seen so much in my life, planets, species, and dangers, but nothing like you. Your abilities, your intelligence, it's incredible." Lyra's glow pulsed softly, a faint warmth radiating around her. "I never thought I could trust a human. I thought you would all try to control me or worse, but you are different. You care without wanting to take, without wanting to use me." "That's what humans can be," Eli said simply. "We can choose empathy and courage even in the harshest places. That is how we survive and how we can help others survive too." Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining with faint golden light. "Then I will trust you completely, but I must learn to control my energy fully. Only then will I feel truly safe." Eli nodded. "We'll do it together. Step by step, I'll help you." The next few days passed in a rhythm of training and discovery. Eli helped Lyra focus her energy, using visualization techniques, water and wind currents to guide the heat safely. She learned to create controlled pulses, to emit warmth without danger, and even to use small bursts of energy to manipulate the environment. She became stronger, more confident, and more independent. One evening, While the twin moons rose over the valley, Eli watched her practice by the water. She moved gracefully, each movement precise, the golden glow of her skin reflecting beautifully in the still pool. For the first time she seemed completely at peace, calm, controlled, and powerful, yet gentle. "You've come so far," Eli said softly, sitting on a nearby rock. "I'm proud of you." Lyra paused and looked at him. "You did not force me and you did not rush me. You gave me space to learn and grow. That is rare among humans." Eli smiled. "Sometimes the best way to help someone is simply to be patient and trustworthy. That's what I try to do." For a while they sat in silence, the desert around them quiet except for the soft rustling of wind and the occasional distant call of a desert bird. The bond between them was no longer just survival, it was companionship, respect, and a quiet understanding. Eli realized that he had not only helped Lyra learn control, but had also gained a connection he had never expected in all his years of exploration. The peace was soon tested when a distant rumble reached their ears. Eli stiffened, scanning the horizon. A small group of rogue explorers, likely scavengers, had detected unusual energy readings and were approaching. Lyra's glow flared slightly, a warning signal more than panic. "They come," she said calmly. "Do we run?" Eli shook his head. "Not this time. We face them, but carefully. You are ready." Together, they devised a plan. Using the natural formations of the valley and Lyra's controlled heat, they created illusions and barriers that made it difficult for the explorers to navigate. Heat pulses from Lyra created mirages of movement, while Eli guided her to emit controlled bursts at key points, directing the humans away without harming them. The encounter lasted only minutes. The explorers, confused and disoriented, eventually retreated, leaving Eli and Lyra unharmed. Lyra's glow dimmed as her control settled fully, her body now emitting only a soft warmth, peaceful and safe. "You see," Eli said, smiling, "your strength and intelligence make you more than capable of protecting yourself, and together we can overcome anything." Lyra looked at him, her amber eyes reflecting trust and gratitude. "I am learning that, and I am learning that not all humans are dangerous. Some are worth trusting completely." As night fully descended, the valley glowed softly under the twin moons. Eli and Lyra sat together near the water, the golden reflections mixing with the silver light, creating an almost magical scene. Eli reached out carefully, holding up his hand but not touching her. Lyra mirrored the gesture, bringing her hand close without contact. It was a silent acknowledgement of trust and connection, the bond between human and alien complete in its understanding. "I never thought I would find a place like this," Eli said quietly, "safe, beautiful, and full of possibilities." Lyra's glow pulsed faintly, a gentle warmth spreading into the night air. "I have found it now, thanks to you. And I will protect it and myself because I have learned control and I have learned trust." Eli smiled. "Then let's make this our sanctuary for now, and maybe for longer." Over the following days, they explored the valley, discovering hidden water sources, safe shelters, and natural formations that could be used for training and protection. Lyra's control grew stronger, and Eli continued to guide her, but now less as a teacher and more as a companion. Their partnership had evolved into something profound, a combination of understanding, respect, and shared purpose. One evening, as they watched the twin suns set together, Lyra spoke softly. "You stayed when others would have left. You trusted me when others would have feared me, and you helped me find myself." Eli looked at her, his heart swelling with pride and relief. "I stayed because I believed in you, because I believe in the best of humanity and in the strength of beings like you. Together, we can face any challenge." Lyra's glow pulsed gently, a sign of calm and contentment. "Then we are allies not just in survival but in life." Eli nodded, feeling a sense of peace he had rarely experienced. Humanity had faced countless dangers, but in this alien world they had shown courage, empathy, and intelligence. And in doing so, he had not only helped Lyra survive but had also shown that humans could rise above fear and greed, choosing compassion and cooperation instead. The desert night stretched around them, quiet and serene. Eli and Lyra sat together, their reflections mingling in the water, a testament to trust, partnership, and the potential for harmony between species. The dangers of the past were behind them, and the future, though uncertain, was full of possibilities. For the first time, Eli realized that heroism was not always about weapons or conquest. It was about patience, understanding, and the courage to protect life. And in this quiet valley under twin moons, humanity had shown its true strength. Lyra looked at him one last time before settling down for the night. "I am ready for whatever comes next. I have control, I have trust, and I have hope." Eli smiled softly. "Then we face the future together, and nothing can stop us." The golden glow of Lyra's body dimmed as she rested, the soft warmth radiating through the oasis like a promise. Eli watched the stars above, feeling hope and pride in equal measure. Humanity had survived, adapted, and proven itself not just capable of exploration, but capable of compassion, courage, and understanding. And in the heart of the desert, with the alien beside him, Eli knew that the galaxy held more wonders than he had ever imagined.